I'm so curious, Quentin, because right before our interview, we were talking about other novelizations based on the idea of this book, and I brought up the Omen, but we literally went live, and so I'm so curious if you two, that was a book that someone had given to me when I was getting really into horror films, and someone said, "Oh, but you have to read this.
Yeah.
This is going to blow your mind." And so I was curious if that was one of those gold standards that you went and reread when you were thinking about doing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
It absolutely was, and not only that. I mean, the Omen is not only one of the most successful novelizations as far as how many copies it sold. I mean, something like 30 million copies or something, which is like unheard of in today's world. Not only was it one of the most successful novelizations of all time, it's one of the most successful horror novels of all time. Back in the 70s, when like the heyday of horror novels, like the 4 big ones that every book said, not since The Exorcist, picks up where Rosemary's Baby left off. It was like Rosemary's Baby, Tom Tyron's The Other, Salem's Lot, and The Exorcist. And The Omen sold just as much as all of them. The Omen was so popular, people didn't know it was a novelization. They thought it was the book first, and the movie was based on the book. But that's a case where David Seltzer, who wrote the screenplay, wrote the novelization, and I love the movie The Omen, but especially in the first half, his characterization of the characters is just far more richer than the actors, except for Gregory Peck. It's obvious he's writing that lead role for Gregory Peck, but the other secondary characters, they're just richer in the book than they are in the movie. But there is a funny thing now. Okay, that's reading it then. Reading it now, I discovered something that I thought was really funny, because they were not given much time to write these books at all. Sometimes they had to like literally turn it over in sometimes 6 or 7 days. It was that quick. I don't know how long he had, but I don't think he had a long time. But reading it now, the first half is so well written.
Yeah.
The first half, he's really writing a terrific novel. He's really laying out the story in this epic way. And then it's obvious he ran out of time.
It falls apart a little bit. It gets a little rushed.
Well, it just becomes a prose version of his screenplay in the second half.
Like, used all of his time for the first time.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, we need it in 3 days. Oh, shit.